If you ain't a grinder, you no kin to me. New Versace on, come and get a whiff of me. Flexing on these haters like my name was Mr. T. What else? This motherfucker slapping, call it Twisted T. Need a verse, shit, that's 250 or 10-3. Get it? Running to the bread like King Henry in Tennessee. It's got a death wish as soon as I go pick a beat. Yeah, this motherfucker slapping, call it Twisted T. Yeah.
Bow! What's going on, everybody? Chad Arms, ChadArmesTV. This is part 3 of the series Been Around, where I'm just telling stories from past music stuff and speaking on relationships with artists and just kind of where I've been and what all I've been around for. Part 1, we talked about my 15, 16 year friendship with Jelly, starting ChadArmesTV. Part 2, I talked about my entire music career over the last 20 years, me fighting addiction. Part 3, we're going to talk about how I came in contact with Worm and mine and Worm's relationship over the last 12, 13 years. Rest in peace, Worm, forever Whizzle. So, like I stated in part 1, and I've stated multiple times, but I just want to put it all in one video. The first time that I ever met Worm was when I put the camera on him on The Real Worm Volume 1. When Jelly and him were sitting on the couch at Rola's studio, and Worm was introducing himself and saying, you know, I'm out south, man, all day, every day, USATrapallday.com or whatever he said. That was the first time I ever met Worm. Jelly had talked about him for a few weeks prior to him coming over there. He said he's got a guy he was locked up with that he's known for years that's wanting to get into the music, and he's cold, and he's about that life, and he's dope, you know. And that was the first time I met Worm, was that day. It was January of 2009. So y'all saw the stuff unfolding as it was unfolding back then. You know, we were shooting footage for months, you know, back then. We shot The Real Worm Volume 1, Day in the Life. We shot The Real Worm Volume 2, Day in the Life. And we were just, you know, he jumped on board with Show Improve Entertainment, which is what, you know, mine is. And I helped him. I was doing a lot of his management. I was doing all of his, helping him get his Mr. South to Death album together. Helping out with his MySpace, back when MySpace was a thing, uploading his YouTube content, features and things like that. I was kind of taking care of that for him, because that's what I was doing with all the artists with Show Improve. And so that's what that was. Now, in that time frame, in 2009, I want to say Worm went to jail for a small stint for, I can't remember what it was for, but it was for a couple months. Because if you watch The Real Worm Volume 2, it was in the summer of 2009, and he had just gotten back out. It wasn't for a long stint or nothing. But we worked like crazy on his album. His album gets ready to come out, and then he gets locked up again. So I kind of do the same thing that I did for Jelly, in the sense that I was running his MySpace page for him while he was locked up. I was keeping money on my books, things like that. And then my time frame is kind of runs together back then because it was so long ago. But I know that when I did the Free Worm song, that was in the 2009-2010 time frame. And then I did the Free Worm remix that I just released with me and Lex. That was from back then. That was 2010 or 11. So, you know, Worm was messing with us real heavy, and we was all a fan. We was all Show Improve, man. You know, I shot the Worm and Jelly Show part 1 and 2. That was summer of 2009. That was, we would have had, I mean, just with those 2 episodes, if we could have kept that momentum going on that would have been a legit TV show for sure. Salute to Jelly. But that was some of the funniest stuff ever, when Jelly and Worm were on camera together. But 2009, 2010, we dropped Mr. South to Death. It was doing really well around the city. And keep in mind, this is when digital wasn't really a thing. I mean, it was a thing, but you only uploaded your music through CD Baby, and it went to iTunes. That was all that there was iTunes. There was no streaming. There was no any of that. So time goes on, you know, 2010, 2011, he starts working on Still Out South. He recorded a lot of that stuff at Rola's, I believe. He also recorded a lot of that. That's when he got in. Lex recorded some of that stuff, you know, because I met Lex in 2009, and Lex and Bravo were kind of trying to come back and get some Top Dollar stuff back going. Neither one of them had been doing music for a while, and everybody kind of just started moving together, you know. So Still Out South he worked on. I wasn't as hands-on with that one as I was with the first one because he had other people helping him. But it was still all a group effort. You know, we dropped Still Out South in 2011. And I can't remember. I know that he got a 20-month sentence in that time frame somewhere, but I can't remember if it was 2009, 2010, or 11 because it all kind of mushes together because it was so long ago. But we just kept the momentum going, man. Still Out South was getting recorded, and it turned out to be a banger of an album. Both of his albums are banging back then, you know, Mr. South to Death and Still Out South. Well, then, as you know, for part 2, 2012 hit, and that's when I took my 2-year hiatus, where I didn't speak to anybody. And I got addicted to drugs. I got off of drugs. I came back in 2014, got back in contact with people, and me and Worm kept in contact. It just wasn't as close of contact as it was before I took my 2-year hiatus, right? And then Worm got locked up in 2016, I believe, and that's when he did his 5-year stint, okay? Close to 5 years. And in that time frame, me and him kept in contact, just not as regular contact as before because we had lost contact when I took off those 2 years. We were always super cool. We never, ever had any issues, not the first one. But he was doing his thing, I was doing my thing, and then I fell off for 2 years and came back. We got back in contact, but when he was locked up over this last stint that he did, we didn't keep in contact as much as I would have liked to. But anytime he needed something, I would send it to him money-wise. If I didn't have it, I'd say, hey, man, when I get paid, you know, I can get you when I get paid. Because I was living paycheck to paycheck back then, man. I was just being dumb and messed my money up, and it was all kinds of stuff. So then, fast forward to February of 2021, right? Worm gets out. I speak to Jelly at the beginning of February, and he was saying that they're trying to work on getting Worm out, okay? I was like, well, that's dope. Hell yeah, because I didn't know that situation, like what his situation was, how long he, you know. And then I see that he's out, so obviously he gets in contact with me, and I was looking for the messages, and I couldn't find them because we've had so many. I couldn't, but when he gets out, you know, he hits me up on some stuff like, hey, me, you, and Lex need to get the band back together type stuff. You know, let's make something shake. And of course I was like, I'm down, bro, just let me know. That was when he first got out at the end of February, early March. And then March 29th is when I went over there and recorded part 1 to Worm Is Back. Okay. That's when we started doing the Worm Is Back series. That was just jumping. We started shaking YouTube. Worm's momentum was bigger than it had ever been, man. We did all of that, had all that momentum. We did parts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 of Worm Is Back. We did the I'm Back freestyle, which is booming. We started getting his music in the works. And then he got sick, and we lost him suddenly, okay? And it fucks with me every day. We still don't know what happened. People keep asking. We still do not know what happened, okay? It takes 6 to 8 weeks for autopsies to come back. We do not know. So please, if you ask me, I'm going to tell you I don't know because I do not have it. I don't know. And regardless of what it was that happened, it's not going to change the fact that he's not here anymore. But all I know is that we were on a trajectory to take him to the roof, through the roof. All that time that he had missed out on, he was making up for it. We were making things shake. And the crazy thing is that I was laid off from my job of 5 years out of nowhere in the middle of February. And had I not have gotten laid off from my job, I would have never been able to do all that content with Worm that I did in the three and a half weeks that we got all that content done. I would have never been able to do it because I would have been working 5 days a week, and I wouldn't have been able to, schedule wise, I wouldn't have been able to do it. So, and what's crazy is back in the beginning of 09, I was laid off from my job temporarily. It was a factory job. I was laid off for 3 to 4 months. That's how we got all of that ChadArmesTV content rolling. The Jelly Freestyle, all the Worm Day in the Lives, all that stuff that y'all see from January to April of 2009 on the ChadArmesTV timeline. That is all when I was laid off when I worked for Lowe's, the Lowe's company, mill work. Well, Best Buy laid me off. They laid off 5,000 employees in February. And I had been there one of the longest periods in that store. And I was working remotely, doing sales remotely. And my position was basically eliminated. But had that not have happened, we would have never gotten the content we got with Worm when he got out. So for that, I'm forever thankful that I got to spend that time with him and get that content with him to keep his name living on forever. It's Forever Wizzle, R.I.P. Worm. Also, we got the Lex Got Gangsta Shit. We got that single put out with Stack and Jelly. We were only able to get 2 more songs done with Worm. He got a feature done for Joe Marley, the Trenches remix, which is out now, all streaming platforms. Shout out to Joe Marley, Sleek Diddley on that one. We got 2 more songs. It's one that me, him, and Lex are going to do, and there's another one, the Something Dangerous. We did get Something Dangerous recorded. We're just figuring out a plan on what we want to do with it, okay? I wish we could have gotten more music. He had plenty more music to record. He had just gotten really sick, and he couldn't record. We were waiting on him to feel better. But the timeline's crazy, man. Like the way that things worked out back then, 2009, meeting Worm. Like I said, me and him were completely different people as far as upbringings and lifestyles. And he was from a street lifestyle. I'm from the complete opposite of that. But none of that mattered. I've spoke about this before. None of that mattered because we loved each other. And we may not have spoken to each other every day. Just like Worm said in that Riding with Bubba Jim episode, it was the realest shit ever. He was like, if you get real friends, hang on to them because they're hard to come by. He said that they might not be there with you every step of the way, but they're going to be there when it counts the most. And if it's one thing I know that I loved Worm. I know he loved me. And I just hope that wherever he's at, he's looking down on us, I'm sure. And I hope that he's in a better place. I hate saying that because people say that. It's just a cliche thing to say. But I really do, because he was stressed out, man, and he was just so excited about the music and glad to be back doing it. And I love him, man, and I miss him every day. And I appreciate all the support we've been getting on the t-shirts. It helped pay for the funeral. And we couldn't have done that without y'all's support. So I really appreciate it, and I love each and every one of y'all. ChadArmesTV. Y'all be sure to subscribe to the channel. Stream Worm's music as much as you can. Just keep his name ringing. And I love each and every one of y'all, man. Peace.